Because when I first got on with them, just getting out of that super abusive relationship I was in, I was definitely manipulated into a relationship by a predator. But I was like 17 and he was 38. Always a big advocate for not putting yourself in bad situations. Let's say that happened at a bar. Some guy was like getting handsy, and like you staying there and allowing it to continue to happen is probably only going to escalate that situation.
Yeah.
Like, especially if people are drunk, like they don't have self-control or like risk management thing in their head when you're drinking. Like you're willing to like push the envelope because you're not like afraid of what's going to happen. Keeping yourself out of that situations. Again, like, not getting drunk and wasted, walking around in a place you don't know, or getting in a car with someone you don't know in another country. Like they could take you anywhere and you have no idea. Don't put yourself in weird situations if you're not in control or you're not comfortable. Like, just don't do it.
I think everybody out there is going to find happiness in a different way. In society right now, with a lot of quote unquote experts that seem to think that they have the answer for everyone.
Accountability means I'm willing to admit that I played a role.
Pain, but not just pain, because I think we can turn into martyrs and we can be in pain and suffering and look how much I can carry. We talked earlier about like terminally unique, like look how hard my situation is.
Your heart kind of tells you the truth all the time, even when it hurts.
In order for you to get all the gifts at the end of the rainbow, you have to be responsible for your own energy.
My purpose is to bring change and confidence and leadership to the world, right? So when people see that somebody like me can achieve, it gives them hope.
It is interesting when we release our ego and make it less about us and make it more about the people who actually need our message.
I do it now. I'm not waiting to be a billionaire to help financially people.
You guys are going to absolutely love today's episode, but before we dive in, I wanted to let you guys know about the 2023 Evolve Retreats. I'm hosting 3 retreats this year in some of the most beautiful places on earth. The first one is in Oahu, Hawaii in July, and the next 2 are both in Iceland, both in September. This retreat is for men, women, solo travelers, couples. Everyone is welcome. Anyone that is interested in soul nourishment, adventure, exploring the beautiful wonders of earth, personal growth and development, connection, making new memories with new friends, and anyone that is on their own path of evolving. We are now accepting sign-ups, so head on over to evolveemilyretreats.com, and hopefully I will see you later this year in either Hawaii or Iceland. Now let's get to today's episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and today I have somebody who I've wanted on the show for so long, but we've, for some reason, just never scheduled it, I guess. But she is a fellow First Form athlete. She is an artist and all-around baddie. Her name is Marisa Laren. What's up?
Thanks for having me on, Emily.
I'm so excited that you wanted to be on the show.
I'm so excited that you asked.
Really?
Hell yeah.
I don't know why I get weird about asking my friends who I've known for a long time. I almost feel like I'm like making an inconvenience to them.
What? Why would that be an inconvenience?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, I feel, I'm like really grateful. I'm like, oh, I'm finally part of the cool kids club.
Finally.
I made it.
Oh man. No, I really like, you have so much depth to you. Do you remember that first time we were like kind of really getting to know who each other was? And we kept just like, our eyes kept getting bigger and bigger because we're like, are we the same person?
We have like a weird amount of things in common.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I want to start off by reading one of your Instagram captions. Actually, it was like, you and I are so aligned, it's a little scary, because this is one of your most recent captions. Actually, I think the recent one. And it's exactly like what I'm doing in my life. And even like the very first few words are literal words that like my coaches and mentors have spoken about, like the season that I'm in right now. So I want to read your caption and then kind of have you expand upon it and just kind of share your thoughts on it a little bit. Okay. So it says, seeking discomfort, seeking my edges, what I'm capable of, how much I can withstand, how well I can handle hard things. I keep getting better at it. You cannot have growth without discomfort. Dealing with discomfort, fear, pain, and situations we don't want to be in, or situations we are unfamiliar with, is an essential part of growth. Hard times and hard things forge us into stronger people, carve out our character. You can choose to look at difficulties as disruptive or something you dread, or you can look at them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Choosing hard things forces us to see what we're made of. It pushes the edge of who we are into who we want to be, who we are capable of being. Seek discomfort, try new things, push yourself. And this was written on a photo of you cold plunging in a glacier in Iceland. You know the friend that like one-ups ya? I just posted doing a cold plunge in Utah thinking I was so cool. And here she goes posting one in Iceland. No, I'm inspired. I think it's dope. And I'm going to do it too.
Hell yeah, you should. I know are you doing it with Trova? Or are you doing it through a... TBD. Well...
But yes, I am going to Iceland. Just kind of details are TBD.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you go, just make sure to ask like where you can do it. Cause I don't know.
Oh, right. Like where it's safe.
Yeah. Safe or like even like you're able to, cause that's what I did. Like when we went, we had a guide. So I was like, it's not on the itinerary. And I said, hey, like where, is there an area we're going to go to that like, if I want to get in cold water, I can? And he's like, yeah, I think so. So, but it was, I kind of tried to convince everyone in my group to do it with me, and I got like 4 people.
That's honestly great. 4 people.
Yeah, I was proud of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Even just getting in.
And 3 of them were, well, it was 2 of them were girls. So that was awesome. I know. I hope I taste good.
That's very brave. Was it their first cold plunge?
I think all of them, that was their first time doing it.
Yo, first time in Iceland?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone, I think, went full under. So I was really proud of them.
That's super impressive.
Yeah.
So, okay, talk to me a little bit about this idea of running towards discomfort. Have you always been that way? Did you have to learn that skill? Talk to me about this.
I feel like this is a thing that I have cultivated over time, because I always say like I'm really good at handling uncomfortable situations because I was forced into them early on. Like I didn't have an option. And I don't know, like I always say this, I'm like, I think part of it is choosing. Like there's something inside some people that when they hit hard things, instead of it letting it beat them down and like just ruin their lives, they choose to like keep powering through or rise above or like, and I don't know what it is from like an early age that I had something like that in me. So every time I go through hard things, now it is a choice. And I'm like, oh, I've done a lot of hard things. So this is just another one. Like if I made it through that last one, which I thought was the hardest, I can make it through this one.
Yeah, no kidding. I can definitely relate to that because every time I reach a new low and then actually overcome it, I'm like, oh, like I'm actually unfuckwithable at this point, right? Like I really thought those things were going to take me out and they didn't, which means like, watch out.
When the fire happened, I had a lot of people who were like, I don't know how you didn't let this break you. And I was like, why would I let it? Like I've been through way worse than this. Like this sucks.
Can you talk about that for people that don't know what you're talking about?
Well, I moved to Missouri, St. Louis, like 2 years ago.
And 2 years? You've been there 2 years now?
I was there 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just about, it was like when the fire happened, it was like just before the 2-year mark. So, oh my gosh.
So God's like, I need to get her attention. No, I'm kidding.
No, literally, I literally said that. I was like, the universe didn't want me to move there in the first place. It kept sending me signs. But in my head, I was like, when you level up, sometimes things don't go your way to keep you down, right? Like
totally.
That's how it works. Like everyone I've ever met who has like started a business or moved somewhere hard, they're like, you're going to be hit with like roadblocks, and the people who make it are the ones who keep going.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Missouri, I'm like, these are my roadblocks. All of this crazy shit that is happening. Like I think the pandemic was because of me. Like the time, the time frame is
you guys, we solved the issue.
It's me.
It was Marisa.
I did. I chose. It's so weird. Like I chose to move to Missouri December 2019, and I'm like, suspicious. That's when like COVID was happening. We didn't really know. And I set my move date for March 2020. Like it was literally the week that the world shut down. I couldn't move, and I'm like, I had friends who were like, "This is because of you, because you chose to move," and I was like, it's suspicious.
Suspicious.
So that was like the first where the universe was like, hey bitch, don't move.
Yeah.
But I moved anyways. And then like when I first moved to St. Louis, all this crazy stuff happened. So ridiculous. So yeah, a year and a half rolls by and I opened a private studio for my tattoo shop and put so much time, money, effort into that thing.
It was beautiful. I was blown away with what you did with that space.
Yeah.
Are you like also a graphic or an interior designer?
Honestly, I just used Pinterest and I want that.
No way.
It was like one photo and I was like, I want something like this and I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm actually like, people will say that like, you can do it. And I'm like, it's the one thing. I got one thing. If everyone wants their house to look exactly like this, then yes, I'm your girl.
Amazing.
Yeah, but no, I loved it. Like, I loved that space. I was super happy, like, with how it turned out. And then, yeah, it was like, I had barely worked there like a year and a half. And then it burned to the ground.
Like, literally.
100% loss. It's so crazy because I was like tattooing there that night till probably like 11:30 midnight. And fire had to have happened like 3:30 in the morning. So like I had just, not like it would have mattered if I was there or not, but I'm like, I was just there. And then, yeah, by the time I got there early morning, like 10, because I didn't even know what was happening, gone, just completely gone. Everything was gone. And I was the only business or anything that had 100% loss. Everything else was pretty much just smoke damage because I'm just super lucky.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did you process that? We're laughing right now, right? Yeah. But like, I love that you're able to laugh about it and I'll laugh with you. But like, when it's happening, how did you even process that?
So how I found out is my best friend, he's a lawyer, he's from St. Louis. He texted me a news article, was like, I'm pretty sure this is your business. And it was like 3rd alarm fire, downtown Central West End. And I'm like, oh, it's definitely my business.
Oh.
So like immediate panic. I just like rush out the door, drive there, and I show up and like the fire has already been put out. So there's just like inspectors and firemen and I'm like trying to figure out who to talk to. And I like go in and see it and I'm just kind of like in shock, just like asking questions. I'm like, I gotta make sure this isn't my fault, right? Like, where did the fire originate?
Right.
Like,
you're like,
did I leave a candle on and
gosh.
like burn my own business to the ground? Not the case. So after that, I went like on the drive home, I just like still in shock, just like, what the fuck? And then I got home and I just started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is such a rare thing to happen. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I had already been planning on leaving St. Louis. So I was like, this is the only thing I like about being here. And it was taken away. And now I have like a whole nother year left on my lease. Like, what am I going to do? So it was mostly just like, I honestly didn't really know how to process it. I was just super emotional and a lot of crying for like, well, also too, because I had planned a trip to Turkey 2 days later.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. And you still went on it.
I did. My first initial thought was I can't go. Because I was like, I have so much to do. But then I thought about it and like I did have a couple friends who were like, you should go anyways. But I already paid for the trip. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's literally nothing I can do until they get like the report back. What am I going to do? It's not like other businesses, like if there was stuff you could save, then you could at least like get your stuff out or see if you can whatever. And I was like, it's just ash. There's literally nothing I can do. So I was like, all right, we're going to go on this vacation. Like maybe that'll be good to kind of get me away and like not distract, but a little bit of like distract me from like what just happened so I can like deal with it and figure out what my next steps. So yeah, I went to Turkey. It was great.
Yeah. How was Turkey?
Amazing. It was really nice.
You've been to a lot of really cool places. When did traveling become something that you made a priority? Because I feel like you've always made that a big priority in your life, like throughout your years.
Not until I moved to Las Vegas. So 2017, I hadn't really traveled anywhere.
Really?
Well, I didn't really have the option. I had always wanted to travel, but it was kind of like if I wasn't traveling for work, I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't take vacation. There was like a 10-year period of my life from like when I started tattooing till, so 17, 27 or so. Like I didn't go on a vacation.
Because you were just working 24/7
all the time.
I
and
relate to that.
Yeah. And a lot of people I was surrounded by like would guilt you if you were taking time off, like, oh, you're not dedicated to your job or your craft. And like, so I was like, I just felt guilty even if I wanted to take a vacation. So after I moved to Vegas, I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii. And that was like my first solo trip too.
No way.
Yeah. Because I couldn't find anyone to go with me, which was crazy because I was like, it's like a free condo. You just have to pay for your flight and food.
Wait, what deal is this?
It was
Sign a girl up.
Yeah, it was kind of like a thing that happened. Like,
send me the info.
My dad was in prison, and my parents had owned a condo out in Kauai, and they still had it. Obviously, they couldn't use it because he was in prison.
Right.
And they couldn't. There was like a week that they couldn't rent it out.
Oh, okay.
And so my sister hit me up because I don't talk to my parents. And she was like, they're trying to find someone to take it. Like, do you have friends who want to rent it? And I was like, it's expensive. It was like $7,000 for a week or something.
Oh my
But it's like a
gosh.
3-bedroom on the ocean, like kitchen, living.
You still got access to this thing or what?
I don't know. Maybe.
Send a text.
Dude, I know, right? Like, hey, I know we haven't talked in years.
10 years.
but so I was like, I can look, but I was like, I seriously doubt I have friends who are willing to pay that much. But I was like, I would like to go, but I can't afford it. So at the very least, they can't find anyone to take it. I'll stay for free.
Totally.
Like, I mean, it's not like you're losing money. Like, you're just, it's going to be
Sitting there.
Yeah, it's going to be sitting there either way. So it ended up happening. And I was like, well, maybe I'll find some people to go with. So I asked like a few of my friends, and no one could make it happen. So I was like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm never getting this opportunity probably again. And then I was like, why don't I just go alone?
Did that seem like a crazy concept back then?
Yeah. That was the first like leap into traveling alone or doing most things alone. Besides, I mean, I moved to Vegas alone, but that was like, this was my first vacation. I was like, ugh, why would I do that? And then I was like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So I just kind of booked the flight and went, and it was the best vacation I have ever had.
Right?
It was so good.
The first time I did a big travel or a big solo travel, because I always like travel alone, but like solo vacation where you're kind of vacationing next to like honeymooners and stuff.
You went to...
I went to the islands.
That's
I went
right.
to the Virgin Islands, St. John and St. Thomas for my
your
birthday. And that was the first like vacation that I took alone, because I felt like I was just waiting around for other people to like be able to go, or waiting until I was like in a relationship to be able to go. And finally I was like, I'm going to die waiting. Like, I've just got to go, and I'm going to be okay. If I feel lonely, it'll be okay. I did not feel lonely one single time. I ate everything I wanted. I did whatever I wanted. I didn't have to ask any questions or consider anyone else. It was great.
That first one is like liberating.
Yeah, because then you realize how happy you are by yourself.
Yes.
And you're like, I will not tolerate anyone that does not add to this happiness and peace.
That's how I'm like weird about some vacations. I'm like, I think this is a solo vacation because I don't want anyone to ruin it for me. And then other places, I'm like, I kind of want to save this for maybe like a friend or a boyfriend, because there's just like certain places I think would be better.
Like Greece.
Greece is so romantic.
It's so romantic.
Yeah, I want to do Venice and Greece, and I'm like, those are probably boyfriend places.
Right.
But
you know what's interesting? I did this like camper van trip recently, and it was incredible. And I did not feel lonely one single time, except for one night I stayed in like the nicest hotel ever and had this like self-care day, and it was all great until like the hot tub at the end of the night. I'm like so happy, and then I'm like, fuck, this would be nice to be here with somebody. Right. And then it's funny because the whole trip never felt lonely, but as soon as I did the nicest hotel with the nicest stuff, and it was a little bit bigger than the van, meaning like way too big for me, I felt that loneliness. I was like, damn it.
Every once in a while I've had that, like, I don't know what it is, but like certain places or like times where I'm like, oh, a little lonely. Kind of wish somebody was here with me, but
So let's talk about solo travel since we're on the topic, because there's a lot of my listeners that are so intrigued by this idea of women traveling alone and being brave and like being able to go do it. And I think they see us sometimes and they think that like we're just the most confident ever. And maybe now we've built that confidence, but like talk to that version of you that hadn't gone before, and like the feelings that you felt, and just kind of like how to overcome that. And then also if you have any like practical tips for women traveling alone as far as like safety and things, like share those things too.
So you said something, and this is like there's a quote that I had read. I feel like it's maybe Jack Kerouac or something, but it's like, if you keep waiting for someone like to join you, you'll never go. Or like the man who waits for someone to go, like, will wait forever, and the person who goes alone will go now. So that is the thing. I was like, if I keep waiting for someone, which I have done for so many years and haven't gone, like, I'm gonna keep waiting forever. So it was really just like, a leap of faith, or not even faith, just like, I don't know, outside of the fear. Like I was scared, I was nervous, I hadn't done anything like that yet, but I was like, I did choose a place that I had been before, and I think that helped because it did take away some of that, like, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. Like I knew I had like family there if I needed something. Like might have a cousin. He's not really my cousin. I just call him that.
Yeah.
But like I knew I had already been there before. I knew it was a safe place to travel. So I'm like, that was like a really good like dip my toes in vacation. And I always tell people that I'm like, if you're a little nervous for your first solo trip, maybe choose someplace you've been before, or choose someplace that you feel really comfortable and safe about. So maybe not, travel to a foreign country for the first time.
Right.
You can. My second vacation, I went to Budapest by myself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's ballsy.
Yeah. I mean, I did some research. It was like one of the safest places for a solo female traveler to go to. I mean, I saw a video on like a plane, I think, and I went, that place looks great. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, it's actually really safe to travel. So that's cool.
Okay.
But I'm like, yeah, dip your toes in, go someplace maybe that's a little less scary for you at the first time. And then like, yeah, do all the things that you want to do, because you don't have to worry about someone else's time or schedule or preferences. Like, it's seriously the best.
I even thought, I was like, when I eventually get into a relationship, I think I kind of want to like go first. If we go on vacation together, be like, I'm going to go 3 days early and then you can meet me there. So I can have my little like alone time. Then I'll be ready to see you.
I feel like I'll still be taking solo trips.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like, especially like I really like hiking alone. That's just the thing. I don't really like hiking with other people.
Are you going to the hike this weekend?
I am. But that's not a real hike. Like,
I don't even know. I didn't look it up.
It's Camelback.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They think it's hard and awesome.
I heard that it's like hard. No.
Okay.
I have no idea. I just someone I talked to earlier was like, I think it's a hard hike. I was like, okay.
It's fucking not. I mean, I've done it like 3 times, and like I think I did it once in the rain in Converse, and like there is a section in the beginning that is there's 2 ways to get up: hard way, easier way. But the hard way is not hard. It's just kind of steep. There's like steps, and it's kind of like a steep incline, but it's not like a high elevation change. It's in the middle of Phoenix.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like literally in this
yeah, okay. We'll see.
It's not hard. I did tail like some of First Form came out here maybe a year ago or something.
I remember that, yeah.
And Andy what came, and I told him, I was like, oh, Camelback's awesome, it's super easy hike, you guys are gonna have such a good time. And then he did it and he was like, you're a fucking liar. And I was like, sometimes I forget that like fitnessy people aren't always good at like hiking.
Totally. And also like your hard is different than other people's hard.
This is true.
Need to remember that.
Like, yeah, that's very true. Also.
It'd be like you saying that like something's not painful, but like your pain tolerance is probably higher than
understand that not everyone is a psychopath like me, especially when it comes to pain. But like that hike really, like kids do it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so what about safety when it comes to women traveling? Do you have any like just practical tips for people?
Don't do what I do, which is tell no one where you're going.
Marissa.
I have like a list of things that I'm like, everyone should do this. And I'm like, I don't do any of these things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start.
It's working in my benefit so far. I'm a big advocate where you should probably tell someone where you're going if you're traveling alone, someone you trust.
Right.
Like send your, I don't know if you have like a set itinerary, but like if you're staying at a hotel, your hotel information, like maybe where you're going to be at, stuff like that. Check in with them, make sure that you're okay. If you're going to go out at night by yourself, maybe like text them. Also, like if you're in a foreign country, knowing where your embassy is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm always a big advocate for knowing where your embassy is in case you do get in trouble, because where are you going to go?
What are you doing over there, Marissa? We're having to worry about getting in trouble.
I meant like if something happened to you. Oh. Like if you got attacked or something, or if you lose your passport or
My mind's elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get fucking hammered and you start
cause issues,
you freaking ruin your hotel room.
Steal some breadsticks from Italy.
I don't know. Go through tea in the harbor. Really, just be a menace to society. Know where your embassy is.
It'd be kind of fun to like run from some foreign police at some point in life.
I've heard some scary stories about the police, which is another thing. I don't always trust the police in other countries.
That's true. Bad idea. Scratch what I just said.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories.
I shouldn't advocate for any of that. Many of my friends and family are police officers.
I mean,
I'm joking. It's not cool.
That's my thing is like, I think, oh, police is who you would trust, right? Like if something, but I don't know.
Maybe not in other countries.
Maybe not in other, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just being silly. But I would agree with those things. I would also say from my experience, if you do go out and have dinner and a drink or something.
Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk.
Literally just you don't have the freedom to get drunk. Even if you like to, like, don't do it. It's a bad idea.
Nope.
You know, because then, you know, let's say that you're drunk and everything seems fine. And then you get into an Uber or you get into a taxi, especially where they don't have Ubers, and things can get weird. Like when I was on the islands, that actually happened one night. I didn't get drunk, but I did go out and I had one drink and then I left. And I left the bar that I was at because the vibe was like, the night before the vibe was amazing. That's why I was like, I'm going back to where I know it was good. And then I go, and the vibe was completely different. I had one guy come up and like touch me, and I literally had to say like, do not touch me, go away. So that kind of threw me off. And then like, there was a bad energy. So I left. But then I get into the taxi and like it was really bad energy in there. And he started talking about sex just nonstop.
That's super inappropriate.
And he said something like, oh, is that not okay? And I go, no, it's not. And I had gone to the store, and because I had traveled on the plane, I didn't have any weapons with me, but I went to the store and I got a box cutter as a knife. So I had that with me and I just had it out because it was that uncomfortable that I was like, this might be bad. But I got really angry and really like firm with my boundaries. And I was like, completely inappropriate, you know, like very upset. But like people will push the boundaries to see what you're comfortable with. And I knew that that's what he was doing. Yeah. Like just always trust your gut and intuition. And like, if you ever do feel super uncomfortable, like don't be afraid to just leave the situation that you're in or get out of the Uber, as long as you're not like in a worse area, you know? So yeah, I think all those things are helpful. But
I'm always a big advocate for not putting yourself in bad situations.
Yeah.
Like that I feel like
what?
Mitigates a lot of issues. Well, yeah, like same like for you, like you, or like let's say that happened at a bar, some guy was like getting handsy, and like you staying there and allowing it to continue to happen is probably only gonna escalate that situation.
Yeah.
Like especially if people are drunk, like they don't have that like self-control or like that risk management thing in their head when you're drinking. Like you're willing to like push the envelope because you're not like afraid of what's going to happen. So like keeping yourself out of that situations again, like not getting drunk and wasted, walking around in a place you don't know, or getting in a car with someone you don't know in another country. Like they could take you anywhere and you would have no idea.
So true.
So yeah, doing like don't put yourself in weird situations if you're not in control or you're not comfortable. Like just don't do it. I feel like it's
And also a mistake I made probably the first 2 days that I was traveling alone is I was honest about traveling alone because I feel weird lying, but then I realized I started to feel a little weird with the extra questions that were coming, and so I started lying, and I would just tell people, oh, I'm just meeting friends, or oh, my husband's back at you know, the place he's about to meet me. I was always about to meet someone, or someone's on their way to meet me, and I don't like lying like that because I wish I could just like totally just be, you know, the fullest honest version. But like there is a safety issue when it comes to that, you know, like shoot, we've all seen the movie Taken, you know, like some people smile to your face and they're super friendly
all the time, and it has not worked.
Stop.
Every time.
Stop.
We're really trying to get a hostile situation going, but I, you know, how the turntables.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So what do you feel like traveling has done for you in regards to personal development?
I always say this, like every time I go someplace new and meet new people, I think I grow so much as a person because you just really get to see things outside of your bubble. Like I think a lot of people get stuck in like this one view of the world. And especially in America, like we're super privileged. I believe that like the worst of our worst is not near as bad as some other countries. So like even when I do travel, I really do try to go see places that aren't the like nice resorty areas. Like I like doing some of that. Like I want to see like some of the nice areas. I want to stay in a nice area, but I want to get and see like how locals live, like what their lifestyles are like. Like when I went to Egypt, I asked our guide because I was on a guided, like I had a private guide because I didn't feel comfortable being there as like a single female. So, but I was like single. It's really nice.
I love it.
You should use that.
I do that all the time, but that clicked later and I was like, wait, that's a good one.
I'm going to use that forever. But yeah, I want to like see what it's really like. I don't want the like rose-colored glasses.
That's good. And I love that you're saying that, because I think a lot of people get into a habit of like, oh, it's vacation time. Let's go, get drunk in Cancun inside of a nice resort and go back. And they never like actually expand their mind.
Yeah, which is fine. Like if some people vacation because they want to just relax, I get that. Like if that's the type of person you are, but I do think it's good for everyone to like at least go somewhere and like kind of immerse yourself in the culture a little bit. Like open your mind to like the way you live is not the only way to live, and like there's different perspectives and ways of living, and like doesn't mean how you live is wrong or how they live is wrong. It's just different. And I feel like it really makes you like a better person because you're more open to like not agreeing with people all the time. Like in Egypt, that was like a big thing. Like I'm not Muslim, I'm not into Islam. For me as a female, it's really hard for me to get behind that type of religion because they don't really treat females the same. So, but like I respect their decision to choose to follow that religion, and like no one was rude or horrible to me. I mean, some of the things they say, I'm like, don't love that, don't love that at all. But you know, I don't have to agree with everything you say or do to like respect your decision to do it. And especially if you are in another country where you don't have an option, it really does help a little bit, because like what are you gonna do? Like
and I agree with that. I also think something that has impacted me is seeing how people are just so happy with the way that they live their life, because it shows me that like you can be happy with so many different ways of living. And I think especially in America we have that like more is better mentality, and it's hard to kind of break free from that if you don't ever like go and expand your mind and see a different perspective, a different way of life. When I was younger, I believe I was in like 8th grade, maybe, I went to Osh, Kyrgyzstan, which is next to Kazakhstan, where Borat's from. I always say that. And it was the first time I had seen like a whole different country and like how people live their lives, and they live so simply and they were so just joyful. Like, and it was pure joy. It was like so genuine and so pure. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're happy with like literally nothing, and it impacted me and made me want to travel and see more and experience more. So one thing that we relate on a lot, but one of those things obviously is travel, but you actually do travel groups now, and you just did my dream trip, which I'm going to do next, which is, I'm not surprised that we're on the same.
I know. I didn't actually choose Iceland. I wanted to go. So I had wanted to go already. I actually, when the volcano erupted last year, I was gonna go. I was like, this is happening, and 2 of my friends were doing a trip out there at the same time, so I was gonna try to go with them, but they had the like COVID restrictions. You had to quarantine, and I was like, that's a week of me sitting in a room, and like I can't take that much time off, because that's like a week there is barely enough. So like being gone for 2 whole weeks and being stuck in a hotel for half of it seems ridiculous. So I'd wanted to go, but I didn't choose it. Like for the group trips I'm hosting now, like the company has, you send out like a survey just to make sure like people want to go, where they want to go, what they want to do. And like Iceland and Alaska were the top 2 places. Really? And I was like, so weird to me. I was like, both of those fucking places are cold. So cold, but great.
I get Iceland. I mean, I've seen some pretty things from Alaska too, but I'm surprised that like a majority of people want to see those places versus like Bali or Costa Rica.
I know. Apparently people who follow me are crazy.
They love the cold.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want fun beach trips. We want to go be miserable in cold places. And I'm like, all right.
So, okay, talk to me about this Iceland trip with the group. What were your feelings before the trip? Like, how did you feel about it? And then what actually happened and how was it?
I was really nervous because I do mostly travel solo. Like, I have a hard time finding one other person to travel with me.
Let alone like 15.
Just because I don't like traveling with people now, because it's hard to find people who are on the same page as you.
I agree.
So I was nervous about that. Plus, like, I don't know any of these people, but they all know me. So there was like this pressure, because I'm like, Instagram really is not a full rounded image of like who you are as a person, and I'm a lot. Like I can't say all the things that I think or say in person on Instagram. And like I feel like I have like some people have an idea, but they don't really know who you are. So I'm like kind of feel like, and I'm an introvert, so I'm like, gosh, I have to be on for a whole like 8 days with multiple people who are there like to see Iceland, but also there because of me a little bit. So I'm like,
Yeah, like you're the host.
yeah, I'm the host. So like I have to be
Hosty.
I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. Like I've never hosted anything in my life. Like,
Oh, that was your first time?
oh yeah. No, I don't do things with people. Like I show up and I sit in the corner with like,
Right.
you know, by myself or with the dog, like try to avoid talking to people.
Totally.
I just like want to be in the background. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I literally can't this time.
I'm so surprised that you like did this.
Yeah, me too. Well, I've been wanting to, I mean, I want to travel more. That's been like a big priority. I'm like, oh, I want to do at least one big like international trip a year. And it's expensive. And like, so I'm, you know, I always put like most of the money that I am saving into doing trips like that. People are always like, how do you afford it? I'm like, that's all I buy is
Right.
experiences.
Yeah,
I don't
not
have
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
So when I have friends, I don't know if you know Matt and Bonnie, Matt Vincent and Bonnie Schroeder.
Yeah. From,
Yeah.
Wait, do they live in?
They live in St. Louis.
I knew it. She's so cool.
She's the fucking, both of them. I love them so much. They're such good, interesting people.
They're people that I'd like to know better. Her and I spoke at FitCon Utah. Wait, FitCon Utah, I think, or maybe a different FitCon.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I saw her. You know what I mean? Like I saw like who she was, and I was like, want to be friends with you.
Yeah, she's. I love her so much.
Aw.
Like I'm super grateful for both of them. Honestly, like they're incredible, and they're so different than me. Not all the way around, but like there's a lot of things that like we're very different people. But I
Yeah.
love it so much because again, like opened me up to like new ways of thinking. So
I like that.
Yeah. But they were doing those trips together, and I was like, can you tell me?
Oh, no way.
About this,
Oh, cool.
the group thing is the only thing that's turning me off. Like, I love the idea of getting paid to travel. Like,
Right.
that sounds incredible. That's like my dream job. I want to be like
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain,
Yeah.
but with like Travis Pastrana mixed in there.
Yeah.
But they were like, honestly, we haven't had any issues with the group. It's like, it is a little better because like people at least who follow you kind of have an idea of like maybe what to expect. So that's how it was like when I went on the trip, and like the first few days, like everyone's kind of getting to know each other. And I was like, I feel so fortunate for the people who came on this group. No one was weird. Everyone was
That's
like,
great.
and I told them too. I was like,
You told them. Thank you guys for not
thank
being
you guys
weird.
for not being fucking weirdos. Or if you're really reining it in, also good job. But
That's awesome.
because I was just like telling them, like, I'm super grateful though, because I was nervous. Like, I don't know how y'all felt because you also came here on your own, not knowing
Totally.
anyone.
Yeah, which
And-
takes a lot of courage on their part.
For sure. And everyone
Because they
was-
don't know, like you could have sucked.
That's what I said to them. I'm like, I do suck.
No, you don't. You're the coolest.
Yeah. I was like, I could have sucked.
Yeah, or like, because I hear of so many people. I was talking to a friend even like last night who he was, you know, in his circle, poor thing, like hasn't met that many authentic people that are also online. And so he was like, you're literally the only one that is like the, and I was like, well, you need to choose new circles first off. Because there's a lot of us that are authentic, but truly like you could have been a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, I've met those people in person.
So like good for those attendees for like just being brave and chancing it, because I saw a lot of the posts from your trip, and that's why I'm asking, because it just looked like a life-changing trip for a lot of them.
It was pretty special. There was like I didn't get to talk to everyone like one-on-one the whole time, but I did try to like make time for, not like weirdly like, all right, you're next, let's do this, but like just
Here's your special time with me because I'm so
5 minutes, clock is on, let's go. No, but like just tried to like, if they were like not just being around. I did bring a friend too, so like that did help me. I called her my emotional support human.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and she's an extrovert, so I'm like, emotional support extrovert, gotta have her. So she's like my buffer.
100%.
And we were just mean to each other. We have that friendship where we just talk shit. Yeah, it's great. So I'm like, everyone here is like, oh my gosh, is this how she treats her friends?
That's awesome.
But like, I did try to carve out time for like some people and not just spend time with my friend, or not just spend time with like the people who are more likely to talk to me first.
Right.
And there was a situation with one of the guys on the trip, and I'm not like gonna say who or whatever, but he was talking about how he didn't make plans for 2023. And because I asked him, I was like, why did you decide to come? Like, I just curious, is like, because this is a step. Like, you don't know me. I could have sucked. Like, and you don't know anyone here. Like, do you do this? Like, do you travel alone often?
you're like trolling him. Why are you here?
But I was just curious. I'm like, why are you here though? Like, what made you want to come? Like, and he was like, honestly, like, I didn't make plans for 2023. And I'm like, broke my heart.
Yeah.
And he was like, but I follow you and a lot of some of the stuff you post, and like, I really wanted to like get out of my comfort zone, and this seemed like it would be a positive experience. And like, he booked another trip with a group trip with us.
That's great.
At the end of this year. So I was like, oh, that's like a really good sign that people had a lot of people from that trip actually booked. We're going to Jordan in October, and there was like 3 or 4 people from my Iceland trip who booked for Jordan, which I'm like, that's great, because they got along with each other. They didn't hate me. Like, you know, and I didn't feel like, I feel like I want to do more for the next trips. Like, I didn't really do anything extra except for show up. Yeah. But I would like to like carve out time to like maybe do, I don't know, like, what are you doing, buddy?
Frank. Aww. If you guys are watching the YouTube video, the dogs are with us on the couch, and you should definitely watch on YouTube.
Oh, but like carve out, I don't know, time where I'm not like weird, like sit around in a circle and tell me your favorite color. Yeah. Why is the red Skittle your favorite? And what does it say about you? But like, I don't know, something where it's like a little bit more like, maybe not mental health, because I feel like sometimes that's weird and awkward. It feels like therapy for people, but like maybe like team building things or stuff where we can like do stuff more as a group.
Yeah. Just something to like cultivate some deeper connection.
Yeah, absolutely. I just have to figure out how to do that in a way that's not like uncomfortable for people. Because I feel like if they're being like forced into like share your deepest, darkest secrets and let me tell you what's wrong with you. They'd be like, this is the worst trip ever. Yeah. But I would like it like to feel like a safe space if there is like stuff that's, I don't know, that they need to like work through, even if it's like cold. I thought I was like, maybe we'll just do like cold therapy for every trip somehow, if we can, if it's
like cold water plunging.
Or like or some like, or doing stuff where it's like, I don't know, extreme. Like, I want to like, if there's a canyon jump somewhere, I want to fucking see.
I want to do the rope swing with you.
Oh, let's go. I'm down.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I want to do that this year.
It's awesome. There's a few other countries that do something like that too. So I'm like, if I'm ever there, I've looked and there's like, I found at least 3. So I'll be doing all eventually. But Moab, and I love Moab.
Have you gone skydiving?
Yeah, like 3 times.
Oh,
that's fine. I think the rope swing was far more intense and fun.
No way.
Yeah. So for me personally, again, I know that I am not a normal person.
No, you're not. But I think we probably we're a little similar in that way too.
Well, the free fall is the best part, right? For skydiving or anything. Like, that's the best part. It's the most intense. It's the part that like gets your adrenaline
makes you feel alive.
Yes.
Because you think you're going to die.
Yes. But for skydiving, it's really short. Like the free fall's super short. And I'm surprised you haven't done it yet.
No, I want to go skydiving in Hawaii.
You should. I think everyone should do it at least once. It's fun. I would do it again. I would like to get certified just so I can do it on my own, because tandem, I feel like, is just not as much fun. And I think you can go higher up. I would like to base jump too, but that's a whole nother, you have to do so many jumps. I don't even know if it would be worth it. But so the free fall is like super short. So for the rope swing, it's all free throw, like, or a free fall. Yeah. That's it. That's all.
Does it hurt when the rope catches?
Because it's on a pendulum, so it's like out in front of you, like where the rope is connected. So it like swings out. It doesn't like snap.
Yeah. That's the only thing I was thinking of.
Unless you do like they did say that there's like if you over rotate your flip. So I tried to do like a front flip the first time, which I did, but then I wanted to do 2 the second time.
Oh, you went twice, like in a row?
Yeah. I was the only one there. Of
course you did.
So they were like, you want to go again? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to go again. I'll go as many times as you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you are doing flips or whatever, that if you don't get your rotate all the way over, that it can like, there's slack. And so it'll catch and kind of like correct. So there's a little whipping that can happen. Mm-hmm. But if you just jump off normal, you don't have any of those problems.
What's normal? Just jump?
Yeah, you just walk off, honestly. You don't have to jump.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you dive?
You can dive.
No shit. I've always thought about like just running and like head first.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like doing a front flip is pretty much just diving head first.
Yeah, true. And you just rotate.
It'll rotate you on, because that was my first thing. I was like, I definitely want to do, like, I would love to do a gainer or a backflip, but I've never done this before, and I've never been good at gainers. I have failed.
It's not the time to try.
But I'm like, there's no water for me to eat shit in, so I could definitely do it. But I was like, what if I just front flip? Because I know I could do those anywhere. And they're like, yeah, like you don't even really have to do anything. Like if you tuck, the harder you tuck, the more you're gonna do. Like gravity is just gonna continue.
Right. See, that's what I was wondering too. Is like, could I like tuck really hard and just
you'll just keep going.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Did you do it with a GoPro too? So
I had a GoPro. I tried to get someone to do a drone because I had someone, and he was gonna be in Moab, Utah at the same time. But then their like car broke down and he didn't make it. So
gotcha.
So I used a GoPro.
Okay.
And phone videos.
I'll get a drone.
Drone
so
is
we can go
honestly,
next time. Can we do it at the same time?
I don't think they can do two people at once. I think you would
maybe a hazard.
Collide and die. But
fun, we could die together.
I mean, maybe if we strapped onto each other, because I think it was Travis Pastrana. He took his like kid on him.
How old was this kid?
So we could just like grab onto each other.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Okay, so talk to me about your journey with First Form. You've been with First Form like a decade now or something, right?
Yeah, since 2014.
Nuts. That's nuts. What do you think, like looking at your like 10-year journey with First Form, what are maybe like 2 takeaways from your journey with them? And how they've impacted you as a person?
Gosh, First Form has seen me through like such tumultuous, like crazy parts of my life. Because when I first got on with them, I was like just getting out of that super abusive relationship I was in. And they had met, because before I got like signed up with them, they had actually met him. And well, they didn't know like what was going on, and then went into another awesome freaking abusive relationship that like first year I was with them. So they saw like a whole different part of me. But I think like them helping me grow as a person, and like through, I'm like so grateful for them. I just think about it because like with a fitness company, like I've not been an athlete the whole time I've been with them. When I first started, I was bodybuilding, and then I got sick, and they've like really stuck by me through like highs and lows, like emotionally and physically, which I'm so grateful for, because there's not a lot of companies that are like probably willing to do that.
No, they drop people
all the time.
As soon as
like,
you're not,
oh, you don't look the way you're supposed to look anymore. You're not like as active as you used to be. Like you're out, and that has never been the case with them. So I'm like super grateful for like them being good, genuine people, and like the loyalty on both ends. Like I feel like I've been super loyal because of that too.
Yeah,
like I have never like
strayed away.
Yeah, I've never even looked at another company.
Never even checked another company out.
Yeah. Oh, no, but I just like am so grateful because like some of my favorite people in my life, like I always say, like I have not had family pretty much ever, what I consider like real family, like people who support and love and care for you, like without want of something in return.
Wow.
And First Form has given me those types of people. And obviously not everyone, and there's so many people now, it's gotten so big, which is incredible. It's cool to see like how it's evolved for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm like so grateful for the people it's brought into my life and the growth it's allowed me, because I do think it's made me a better person. Like being surrounded by people who are pushing themselves to be good people, to work harder, to like advance their lives in so many different aspects. Like you can only you get on the train or you freaking fall off.
Yeah, you'll get weeded out real quick.
Absolutely. Or like left behind, because like why would, like they're just gonna outgrow you.
Yeah.
And I've been really, I feel just like blessed to be a part of that, and for as long as I have too.
Yeah, I love that answer, and I can definitely echo that in my own experience. The people, like when I really just think about it, man, we've seen each other through like the highs and the lows of life, and there's not many relationships in my life that I've had for the last 10 years where people have seen me through relationships and breakups and moving across the country and at the lowest of my lows and being there for me, and they've like restored my hope in humanity at points.
Honestly. Yeah.
You know, it really, I agree with that. It's been really, really incredible. So you just moved to, are you sharing this yet? Can I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did
I've
on your
shared-
Instagram.
yeah.
That's where I saw it.
I've shared it for a while. People just don't pay attention sometimes.
This is true. Okay. So yeah, tell us about your most recent move and maybe why you moved and what you're excited about for your new area.
So I recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Whoop, whoop. Whoop. Yep. So excited. The reason I moved here, this is kind of like, I don't know, I just felt like it was another universe thing. Like after the fire happened, I had to really sit down and kind of think about what I wanted to do with my life next, like what my next steps were. Because I originally had given myself a year to decide if I wanted to move again, because I knew St. Louis wasn't a forever place from the get-go. I was like,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it was a stepping stone because I had my doctor there and I thought first form was there. It'd be nice. It was not. None of it was nice. But I was
not
like,
the place for you.
No, but I had a year where I was like, a year is a good time frame for me to really figure out, because I don't want to keep moving. I move like every 2 to 3 years and I don't enjoy it. I do it because I feel like if I'm in a place that's not conducive to my growth, I don't want to stay there. And I'm in a position where I can. So why wouldn't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I'm single and I have my own business. I can work anywhere. I can live anywhere. And I haven't found home yet, which is what I want, but it hasn't happened. So after the fire, I was like, instead of a year, you have like 2-3 months to kind of figure out if you're leaving or staying. And the only thing I enjoyed about staying was my studio, and it's gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I was just researching places that I had considered moving to already. Like Nashville was one of them. Like going back to Vegas was an option. But I was like, I really didn't want to do that. It felt like going backwards, and I didn't want to work in another studio again. I wanted my own. And Vegas doesn't really have anything for what I wanted. So then Arizona was a place too that I had thought about moving to. And then I looked it up and it was like, this is the easiest place to open a tattoo shop. If I'm going to do that again, it's the Wild West here. You don't have to do anything.
Really?
No health department, no tattoo license. You don't even need a business license. You can just show up and freaking ruin people's lives.
I was going to say, so be careful getting tattooed in Phoenix, Arizona. That's kind of terrifying.
I mean, for me, like in my head, I'm like, oh, do I love that? But I'm like, also, if you're a good tattooer, you're going to do all the things you're supposed to do already. You're going to practice all of the the health codes and everything. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For me, it just made my life easier.
Totally.
Where I was like, because there's like tattooers who have licenses who shouldn't.
Yeah.
So not like it
That's
makes
a good point.
difference.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, this is kind of great. At least it makes my life a little easier having to start all the way over again. Because this would be my third private studio in 2 years, which is a lot, because I had to open that temporary one to work again, which was horrible. And then this one. So I'm like, this is just a lot.
Yeah.
So that popped up. And then I was like, well, I miss hiking a lot. Like, I miss having mountains in my life. Like, they're in my soul. They literally make me so happy. And I like the desert, and I like the idea of being closer to Vegas again, but not there. Like a 5-hour drive or a 45-minute flight.
Yeah.
And then I can start competition shooting again immediately.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
That's the thing I'm most excited for about moving here. Like, I'm literally going to train on Monday with a friend.
So exciting. And for people who don't know, explain, you're talking about gun shooting.
Yes, gun shooting.
Gun shooting. Guns. Bam, bam, bang, bang.
When I lived in Vegas, I started competition pistol shooting. And I was not just doing it for fun. Like, it was fun at first, but then I got really into it, and it gave me a purpose again to be competitive. And I was doing pretty decent until I moved to Missouri, because there's nothing there. So I've been talking to my friends, I want to really take it serious this next year for sure, but the next few years, dedicate into getting back into the sport and being competitive and trying to get really good. So I can literally start doing that. Yeah, Monday I'm going to start.
That's so exciting. So you have these things that fulfill you in your life again. You and I are so on the same path. It's crazy, right? Because I moved to Texas. You moved to St. Louis. We both love for me, I love the ocean and the mountains and all of these things. We left all the things that fulfilled our souls. That was a learning lesson.
It was. Yeah, it definitely was. I don't think it was I feel like sometimes you have to do things like that to kind of
realize what's important.
Yes. Unfortunately.
100%. So, okay, you kind of brushed over it earlier, and I don't want to go like too deep into it, but you mentioned how you were in unhealthy relationships. And I think that a lot of listeners can relate to that. You know, we've all been there. So like, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, because I imagine that you probably knew that you needed to leave way before you actually did. Is that true for you?
The first one was weird. I know.
I know. I understand that on a cellular level. And
Well,
it's like, oh man, I know what that means.
Yeah, the first one was weird. So I'd have to explain it a little bit because it was so weird.
Yeah,
I was definitely manipulated into a relationship by a predator. And he's a legit sociopath, but I found that out later. But the predator thing was pretty out in the open. I don't know how no one saw it. But I was like 17 and he was 38.
Oh.
Yes. But he had shown interest into me when I was like 14. And like, at the time, I'm like a kid. I don't know what's happening. So like manipulated into this relationship, and I live in a small town. So there was a ton of people that I knew who were like older than me, like my friends, like my sister's friends, who were like, I don't know why you don't date him. He's so great. He has all these things going for him. He makes such good money. And I'm like, he's old. And like it wasn't a big deal to anyone, and everyone kept telling me to do it. And I was like, so eventually, like I got worn down. And the first 3 years we were together almost 6 years. It was a really long relationship.
Oh wow!
But the first 3 years he worked overseas, so we never saw each other. Like I lived alone. Maybe every 3 to 6 months he'd come home for like a week or two. So we'd go on vacation. So it was like a honeymoon phase for 3 years where like he worked overseas. It was like emails. We talked on the phone every once in a while, but for the most part, we weren't around each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, which I always say is like, that was his biggest mistake, because those 3 years I got to do some growing up. I was like 22 years old and started working for myself, and I lived alone. So I had this independence finally, and he came back. And because he had gotten hurt over there, and shit, just like I was like, this is different. And like I just started noticing all the things and the lies and the manipulation, and he was super aggressive and horrible, and it started getting really violent. And like, but in the beginning he was hurt, so I thought like, I'm gonna do the good girlfriend thing and like take care of him. And like the manipulation was like super deeply embedded in me, and I didn't even realize like how like I didn't have friends or support system. Everything was in his name. I made cash, so everything I paid for went to him. Crazy. So at the end of it, like those last 2.5, 3 years, I definitely saw it coming, but I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, where do I go? Like, I don't have anything to myself. Like I don't, so like that's when I like started getting involved with First Form, and started getting I got offered to do that show, and like so those things happened for me, and then I started, I don't know, I found a window, which was just another shitty relationship. But I think that was the reason it happened. I always say that,
because it was kind of like back to back.
It was like completely back to back.
Yeah.
But I think it was literally a door. It was like, here's an opportunity to leave your hometown, because away from this person who is threatening to fucking kill you. Where I'm like, I don't have a home or anything. I don't know what to do. I should have gotten out sooner. I think back, and there was like definitely a ton of signs that I just didn't recognize.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that even at the end he was overseas too, because there was so many times where people were like, if he finds you, I think he's gonna fucking kill you. Like his best friends would call me and tell me they had to like call the police station and leave non-emergency complaints. And like, I got lucky they didn't get too physical. Towards the end, it started getting way worse. So, but I left before it got to that point, and I'm like super fortunate that it didn't get worse.
Yeah, that's rough. And it's one of those things, like you mentioned, like whenever you're experiencing what we now know as red flags and like the signs of this is going to be abusive, because like abusive relationships normally don't start out that way.
No, they're going to trick you first.
Yeah, they get you, they hook you, they do the love bombing.
Yep, say all the right things. Yeah.
Like overwhelm you with love and gifts and provide or whatever it might be, right? And then it's like you become loyal to them. And, you know, one thing that I learned in my journey is I had to be loyal to myself first.
Yeah. I've been called selfish for that by people who don't understand, or I'm like, I'm just not tolerating you treating me this way, or even at the very least, like, this is just not benefiting me, like, not because you're a bad person, this just is not what I need in my life right now. And they're like, oh, you're just selfish or cold. And I'm like, I will take it.
Yeah.
If that's what you think, that's a perception you have, because they're probably a little bit like love or codependent, love bombing, and I'm like, you got to work on that. That is not my problem. But I would much rather it be seen as a little cold than
abandoning yourself.
Yes. Like lessening myself for someone else to make them more comfortable.
Yeah. I think a lot of women do that.
Most women do it.
Yeah, until you learn.
I think sometimes you have to
like go through that and learn.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you have. I just think like we're taught from a really young age, or I don't know, I was taught from a young age to like please men from the beginning. And some of it was like, maybe not like you have to please men too, but like definitely had like,
like the idea.
The idea for sure was that like, if you want people to like you want men to like you, then you have to do like what they want. And like, or even the first like conversation I ever had with my father, which was super toxic, is right after I started seeing that guy who's way too old for me. And he told me, he was like, men, older men have needs, Marissa, which is super toxic and gross, especially because like he thought when we weren't close, we didn't talk. I was like 17, 18. He thought I was a virgin. So to tell your young daughter pretty much to have sex with this man if she wants to make him happy is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. And I immediately was like, oh, we're not doing this. But like, I wasn't until I was like, oh, that's gross. But like when I look back, I'm like, this is perverse and toxic and horrible. Like, instead of being like, you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with.
Right. You have autonomy. You have choice.
You have choice. Yeah. And if he respects you as a person and as a female and as a significant other, he should never pressure you into doing anything. But it was like, men have needs.
Yeah, which is planting an idea in your head that their needs are more important than yours.
Absolutely. That like, that my worth is based off of them, not on myself. Which is a horrible thing to teach young girls. But I think, I don't know, maybe it's like where I come from, my parents are a little older, but I think that a lot of women are kind of subconsciously taught that.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people going through their lives and they're placing all of their worth, their value, their identity on all these external things, even like what we were talking about earlier, their profession, right? They like put all their identity in their profession, or like competing, right? A lot of people do it for competing. Like, that's who I am. But it's like, what happens when that goes away?
Did you have that happen?
I think, yeah. I mean, not crazy. Like, I always felt like I was more than my competing. It was never my 100% like, this is who I am. Because I almost got frustrated when people would just identify me as that, because I knew that I was more than that. But I realized that I had created my life to like appear that way, that was me. But I was always like, no, this is just something I do, you know. But I definitely struggled after competing, when it's like, it was other people's expectations of me, like, oh, when are you going to compete again? That question would just like haunt me when I was like, there's more to me than just this. Yeah. I know we could probably go on forever. Okay, so I want to real quick, do you have more spots for your trip in October?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Yeah. So I have a ton of spots. I actually opened that up for a lot more people, like on a whim, because I was like, not that many people will sign up, but there's quite a few spots left for Jordan. And then I still have to decide where I want to go next year.
Cool.
I know. I haven't decided yet. There's like a few places on my list that I'm thinking, but I'm not really sure. I might do like a poll on Instagram just to see where people are at, because I'm like, I want to go lots of places.
Yeah. I think you just maybe name your top 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's
and they'll be like, we're going here.
Yep.
If you guys want to come, let me know. It's kind of what I'm doing. So yeah, if you guys are interested in traveling with Marisa, then check out her links. Everything will be down below. You can check out all the information there. You can join her squad. So if you're normally the person in the corner that doesn't talk to anyone and you relate to her,
yeah.
you guys can go sit in the corner together.
We're all just sit in separate quarters and not talk to each other the whole trip.
No, your trip looked incredible. So I'm excited for you. That's going to be an incredible trip for sure.
I'm also excited. Yeah. Looking forward to them more and more after doing the first one, which was great because I signed up for like 4 of them. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
the first one goes bad. Ooh.
Yeah. And then also if people want to come get tattooed by you, do you have any
you can't. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, damn, girl.
I mean,
but you have like a certain
it's
style.
kind of a joke, but it's kind of not.
Right. Like who do you like to work with, or like what's the style?
Yeah, so I have like it's appointment only, so it's not like you can even walk in and try to get tattooed by me. And then I only do a specific type of tattoos. The style I do is called neo-traditional, but it's definitely my own style. And I mostly do large pieces. So everything, like I have a set criteria I usually list for people to give me, and then I get to pick what I want to do, which I'm super grateful and fortunate for. But I also tell people, I'm like, if you just want, I don't know, like a name tattoo,
live, laugh, love.
Yeah, it won't happen. You can't get tattooed by me, unfortunately. But like anyone could do that for you. So like I always like to look at like artists who specialize in actually being artists and creating art. Like you're collecting a piece of art from that artist. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing just the like you can't walk in and pick something off a wall or just get like So you're collecting artwork from me, which I am grateful that I'm allowed to do that now because that wasn't always the case. But that's kind of how it works now. So like most people get tattooed because they like my work, and then they give me quite a bit of freedom to create something for them.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. So my books are closed right now just because I moved and my space is not open yet, but I will be taking on new projects probably May.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Dope. Well, if you guys are interested, check out all of her links below. Marisa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been dope.
I know.
I'm so happy we finally got to do this.
Me too. I feel like it happened for a reason.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you know the drill. If you enjoyed today's show, then do us a favor and share it on your Instagram stories. Please make sure to tag the both of us. If something spoke to you from today's episode, feel free to message Marisa and let her know. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everyone.